Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. So in today's video, I do want to speak about Frenkie de Jong and Ferran Torres. Many people have been discussing why Joan Laporta has not sold these two players, and because of different reasons. Many have stated, why can't Barcelona just let go of Frenkie because he takes up too many wages? And why can't Ferran Torres just leave because he is basically useless? We don't even need the player anymore with Lamine Yamal, Rafinha, Dani Olmo can also play on the wings. We're also looking at Chiesa. There is no reason for Ferran Torres to be here at Barcelona, and especially when he earns 10 million euros a season. So I do want to clear some things up because yes, while it may be a good idea to let go of some of these players, it's a lot harder than it might actually seem. So let me explain. We have a report that did come out earlier today, according to Alex Pintanel, that states Barcelona wanted to sell Frenkie de Jong this summer, but couldn't due to his injury. They have already proposed a renewal offer in which his wages will be deferred, but he has yet to respond. As he deferred before, he'll now become the most paid player in the team. And so yes, part of the reason why Frenkie de Jong has not been sold this summer is because of injury. Why would you sell an injured player, and who in the hell would accept a player that is injured? It wouldn't make any sense. But let's just say that Frenkie de Jong was not injured. Let's just say that he was 100% healthy and that he was doing okay, but he was still at that same level where he is inconsistent. Sometimes he scores, sometimes he does provide assists. He's just there, right? An average like 6 out of 10 in terms of performance. Could Barcelona still find a move for the player? So Frenkie de Jong did sign with Barcelona on a 86 million euro deal, and his contract was extended until the summer of 2026. Frenkie de Jong has been with Barcelona since 2019, and his contract length is a total of 7 years, right? Because it is until 2026, meaning that for every year, Barcelona do have to pay 12.2 million euros in installments because you are dividing the 86 million euros into the 7 years. And because his contract does not end until the summer of 2026, Barcelona now need to pay 24.5 million euros that is left from the installment plan, which also means that this is Frenkie's value. It is 24.5 million euros. So if Barcelona wanted to sell him, they could easily do that by selling him for more than 24 million euros. Anything more than 24.5 or 24.6 million euros would be considered a profit. But the problem is, why would Barcelona sell Frenkie de Jong for just above 24.5 million euros? Why would they sell him for 25, 26, 27 million euros? You and me know that Barcelona would never sell him at that amount, and that Frenkie de Jong is worth much more, at the very least 60 to 65 million euros, not 25, not 26, and not 27 million euros. Yes, again, we can easily sell him for that amount, but why would Barcelona do that? I do not want Barcelona to lowball themselves. It would be embarrassing. And here's the most important thing. Even if we were to sell him for around 26, 27, 28 million euros and record a profit, there is not a lot of clubs out there that would be willing to take on his wages, because Frenkie currently does earn 25 to 37 million euros a year. Do you really think that he's going to be going to the next club and demand even more money or the same money? Because he is 27 years old. He is at the prime of his career. It would make no sense for him to move on to a different club and ask for more money. The only good candidate that we can discuss about maybe Frenkie de Jong moving to would be Manchester United. But I honestly don't know how their wage bill is, but for sure on a sporting level, they would welcome Frenkie de Jong, especially because De Ligt, Ten Hag, Lisandro Martinez is there. But the problem is the wage bill and the fact that Manchester United failed to go to the Champions League for the next season. Manchester United and its players have received a salary reduction by 25%, and the reason why they had to do that is because they knew that they have lost income because they're not going to be going to the Champions League. So their wage bill is not looking good. I don't know how many more players they can fit in, but to fit in a player like Frenkie de Jong that might cost you 25, 26, 27 million euros a year in salary seems like a stretch. So overall, that is the conclusion. If Barcelona were to sell him, there is no options, no clubs out there that is ready to take him on. That is just the reality. I believe that the plan moving forward should be this. We stay with Frenkie for another season under Hansi Flick, see how he does perform. If he performs well, then good, because now going into the summer of 2025 where things are going to be much different for many clubs, we can sell him for a good amount. 65, 70 million euros is very reasonable, and I believe that many clubs would also settle for Frenkie de Jong's salary. And if he does too well in this upcoming season, right, in the season that we are in right now, then why not have continuity with him? But for this summer specifically, there is no chance for us to let him go. As for Ferran Torres, it's almost the exact same thing. Going back to January 1st, 2022, we signed him for 55 million euros. His contract does not end until June 30th, 2027, meaning that Barcelona have to pay 10 million euros in installments until January 30th, 2027, right, to complete the full 55 million euro payment. As of today, we're just going to be rounding it out and say that Barcelona have paid 25 million euros of the 55 million euros so far, and his current value on his contract does stand at 30 million euros, because that is how much Barcelona need to pay that is left in installments. accounts, which means, once again, very similar to the Frenkie de Jong case, Barcelona would need to sell him for more than 30 million euros. If they sell him for below, they're going to have to record that as a loss. And let me tell you, that is very easy to do because there is no club out there that would be willing to spend more than 30 million euros on Ferran Torres, and especially because of his given level right now. If we sell him for 20, that's a 10 million euro recorded loss in the accounts. If we sell him for 29 million euros, that is a 1 million euro loss in the accounts. We would need to sell him at the very least 30 to 35 million euros to have some sort of profit. Anything more than that is just a plus. And according to the transfer market, he is valued at 30 million euros. But I believe that if clubs were to bid for him, it would not reach that amount. There's just no way. And I find it strange with the fact that Ferran Torres does not even want to bother leaving. He doesn't want to go anywhere. There has been some bids coming from Saudi Arabia, and I'm assuming that they probably offered more than 30 million euros. But Ferran Torres says, I don't want to go to Saudi Arabia. I'm good. And I feel like the reason why is because he does not want to let go of the 10 million euro salary. And at the same time, he has the best chance to succeed sportingly on a high level, which is Barcelona, which is why he ultimately does not want to go. Maybe, yes, Saudi Arabia might offer him more than 10 million euros, but maybe Ferran Torres simply is just saying, I want to succeed. I want to win something. I want to win La Liga. I want to win the Champions League. I do not want to go yet. So maybe, yes, he is comfortable. Maybe he's okay with getting the 10 million euros a year and then potentially winning some trophies in the next season, which is always a bad thing. It does remind me of the Bale situation with Real Madrid, just eating up the wages while he sits on the bench and never playing. I believe that the only thing that could change Ferran Torres' mind is if a club like, let's say, United or PSG or Atletico Madrid come in and say, we'll give you 10 million euros and we'll give you the sporting success that you do want. And they would also pay us the 35 million euros for Ferran Torres, but that's not going to happen. It's just impossible. And that is, once again, the reason why Joan Laporta finds it so hard to sell Ferran Torres. There are so many factors that do have to come into place to make exits. It's not just, okay, if we don't want this player, let's let him go. It's not like that. Barcelona cannot record losses in their accounts. It's very dangerous. And especially right now, we cannot afford to write out any losses because Barcelona do have to make signings to strengthen their squad. And so here's the thing, right? We don't know whether Barcelona is on the 1-1 rule because we have not talked about that in so long. Joan Laporta has not said anything. We have no idea. But let's analyze Barcelona's movements in the transfer market right now because we need to understand what Barcelona is actually doing instead of just saying nothing has been announced. That means bad things are happening. Let's understand the movements that are taking place. So if you guys do not know what the 1-1 rule means, I posted this on Twitter and this is going to be exactly how I did explain it. If Barcelona, for instance, offloads a high earner and frees up 10 million euros in annual salary, they could allocate that 10 million euros towards the salary of a new signing or use it in conjunction with existing funds to pay for a transfer fee. So for example, if Barcelona sells a player earning 15 million euros per year and they are under the 1-1 rule, they can use that 15 million euros saved to either cover the salary of a new player or add their available funds for transfer fees. Right now, Barcelona have just offloaded Gundogan, who was earning 18.7 million euros a season, and Barcelona were on the verge of spending 37.5 million euros in total until 2026, but not anymore because he has left. He went to Manchester City, and in return, which I do not think is a coincidence, but in return, now Joan Laporta and Deco are bringing in Chiesa and Dani Olmo. Olmo is about to get registered and Chiesa is being negotiated. Once again, do you not find it coincidental that these operations are about to get completed after Gundogan's exit? To me, it does seem like Barcelona are moving as if they were already in a 1-1 rule. Like, how the hell is Barcelona exchanging one player to get two in return? And I have said this again on Twitter, that Barcelona may not be in the 1-1 rule, or maybe they are, but one thing is for certain, we are in a much better financial situation than we were before. And I think that we are much better than many of us do assume. Like, we have not even begun talking about what could happen after when Lenglet, Vitor Roque, Mika Faye does leave. How will Barcelona react? And I have also stated, right, like, don't even bother trying to compare us to Man City and Chelsea United. Don't even bother stating, but Kevin, Barcelona is not in a good financial situation because we're not spending like Man City, we're not spending like Chelsea, we're not spending like United. That means that Barcelona is doing bad. Like, bro, we have to get one thing very clear. The clubs under La Liga operate very differently to the clubs under the Premier League, because at the Premier League, there is basically no limitations. To make it very clear and to make it simple, there's basically no limitations. Like, yes, there is in some capacity, but it's very loose limitations. They can spend 180 million euros every summer and be okay. The Premier League is not going to be like, oh my God, you guys are in trouble, you guys overspent. It's over for you guys. But with Barcelona, Real Madrid, Atletico Madrid, we have to operate under certain predicaments, right? We have rules, we have limitations. And right now, Barcelona are acting accordingly. And we're still trying to be flexible, still trying to do the most every summer as we are under these limitations. We cannot be a team that spends 180 million euros every summer yet. Like, we're not there, right? Like, yes, things are getting better, but we're not a city. We're not a Chelsea, and we're not a Manchester United. Javier Tebas would never allow that. So there is no point for us to try and compare how Barcelona is operating compared to the other teams like City, Chelsea, and United. That is a loose argument and a pointless reason on why you should verbally burn this club down. I have read you guys' comments. You guys believe that I am being paid by Joan Laporta, that Barcelona have reached out to me and they have stated that you can only put out positive things. I'm not here getting paid by anybody. I just think that we have to be well educated, well informed, understand the limitations that Barcelona are going through and how by every summer, right, analyzing every summer how we're getting better, because we are. If you look at the bigger picture, if we look at how Barcelona operated back in the summer of 2020 all the way until the summer of today, we are moving much better. Not to the point where we can spend on Erling Haaland, spend on Kylian Mbappe, spend on Julian Alvarez. Like, we're not at that point yet, but we will be there. It just requires patience. There is no reason for us to verbally put this club down, and especially when it comes from their own Barcelona fans, right? It's embarrassing. Sport have also claimed that Mika Faya's departure also really does unlock the door for Federico Chiesa. Barcelona are going to be opening a 9 million euro bid plus 4 million euros in variables to Juventus. Once again, these are very cheap deals. It's a steal. 9 million euros for Chiesa is going to be a huge steal. To put that into perspective, Julian Araujo, a right back that we did not even use and was at Las Palmas last season, did end up costing more than Chiesa. Like, yes, there's variables that do amount to like 13-14 million euros, but the fixed amount is 9 million euros. The fixed amount for Julian Araujo is 10. That's insane. Like, do you guys not understand the type of deals that Barcelona is doing here? And to close this all off, to look at the full transfer operations that Barcelona have completed, it is now official. Barcelona have sold Mika Faya to Rennes for 12 million euros fixed with a 25% sell-on clause and a buyback option for 35 million euros. Julian Araujo has also been sold for 10 million euros. Chadri Riyad has been sold for 9 million euros. Marc Gui sold for 6 million euros. He also just missed an open goal, by the way, a few hours ago. Then we have Stanis, who has been sold for 3 million euros. Serginho Dest on a free transfer to PSV with a percentage of a future sale. Barcelona have generated 40 million euros from all of these transfers. Transfers, right? These players would have never made it to the starting 11 of Hansi Flick. Maybe Mikael Faye, but there is a buyback option. But for 99% of these players, they would have never made it to the starting 11, and we got 40 million euros from these players being sold. That's insane. It is unheard of. We also do have Todibo and his sale, right? It has been confirmed that Barcelona will receive 80 million euros, but it is not going to arrive until the summer of 2025-2026 season, because on that summer he is going to be moving to West Ham United. But Barcelona are locking deals. You may say, but Kevin, you don't think that Julian Araujo was sold for a low amount for 10 million? We could have gotten 15, 20. Joan Laporta is doing a bad job. He's just putting out garage sales at these points. Like I've said, we have to have context. We need to be well educated. We have to understand what's going outside of Barcelona in order for us to understand, like, is Barcelona doing good business? Because if you look at Julian Araujo and this operation and how much we sold him for, there is only 5 players that have been sold for more who play as a right back in the top 5 leagues. Only 5. Number 1 is Bellanova, who went to Atalanta for 20 million euros, right? He is a right back. Bisaka went to West Ham for 17.6 million euros. Once again, a right back. Mazraoui went to Manchester United for 15 million euros, okay? Really pay attention to that. Mazraoui went to United for 15. Emerson Royal went to AC Milan for 15 million euros. And then we do have Jordan Teze, who went to Monaco for 10 million euros. All of these players had prominence in their teams. They had a lot of minutes. They are experienced players. Most of these players are older than 25 years old. And we were able to sell Julian Araujo, who is just underneath this top 5, who barely played anything with Barcelona and is only 22, 23 years old, and we sold him for 10 million euros. It's a great deal. And so I believe that Barcelona is moving in the best way possible. We're locking down great deals. Barcelona are not going to be stopping here. Things will change. We will have further transfers. We might get a fullback. We might get Chiesa. There has been talks about another midfielder. We'll see. Whatever does happen in Barcelona's transfer window, we are going to be talking about it here in this YouTube channel. That is going to be wrapping up today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one.